That's an interesting question, and I asked myself that question um, on the eve of my 70th birthday. I was saying to myself, okay, so when I wake up tomorrow morning, am I going to feel different? Um, and I didn't feel different really, but I felt a sort of I felt a sense of freedom, which is a bit difficult to explain, but maybe a mixture of freedom and relief that, well, the day has finally arrived and now I'm 70 years old. I felt a sense of gratitude, of course, grateful to God for sparing me three score years and 10. And hopeful also. I felt hopeful that quite a few things that I want to do, I will still be able to do. So yes, I felt good. I felt good.
And looking back, what were your recollections of life? And did you feel, I mean, you've been able to achieve all set goals, or some are still outstanding and you're working on?
I think that as a creative person, one keeps on coming up with new ideas. I think that if you set goals, once you achieve them, then you find yourself setting a new lot of goals. Um, I honestly can't say that I was a particularly ambitious person in my earlier years. So when you talk about setting goals, it is not something that I really sat down to say, this is what I want to achieve, this is what I have to do, this is what I have to have. What I know is that the job that I did gave me a variety of opportunities. And as a result of that, I explored those opportunities. So the goal setting was not something that was deliberate and intentional. But because of my job, there were offshoots that took me in different directions. And so it may have seemed as if I sat down one day and said, you know what, I want to do this, I want to do that, I want to do the other. I think the only really deliberate thing that I set out to do in the past was when I established my NGO. That was something that I said I want to use whatever opportunities that I have in the media to explore ways of highlighting women's concerns and gender concerns. So, and I did that. Although at a point I stopped, but for the 15 years that I ran it was a deliberate action because when you want to try to get funds, you got to sit down, have a plan of action, write it up, get the funds, do the project, and report on it. So those were goals within one large goal. Other than that, I was simply just taking up opportunities as I saw fit.
How did you feel at the event, celebrating your birthday, when you saw the guests?
I was humbled that those people showed up for me. I was really, really happy that they showed up. Interestingly, quite a lot of them actually. I had a history in one way or another with most of those people. So, for instance, well, as you know, one of the things that I did on that day was to launch a 100 million naira cancer appeal fund. Now, it might interest you to know that, yes, I invited Erelu Abiola Dosumu, and she came. Now, as far back as almost 25 years ago, during the time that I was producing and presenting a program on TV, it was an independent production called Crystal. There were three of my colleagues and myself. There was a motherless baby's home in somewhere in Ogun State, which we decided we wanted to support. And we invited Erelu back then to come to that particular event, see what we were doing there. And she showed up. she showed up and she said that when she got there, she said, well, if you ladies think that there's something important that is happening here and you invite me, then why shouldn't I also come and see what is going on? So that is the kind of relationship that I have had over the years that made me invite her again to be part of this initiative. And for each of the people that were around me, I could tell you one story or the other. So I was really happy that they didn't just honor this new cause, but they honored the relationship that we have had over the years. They honored the friendship and the respect that we have had for each other over the years. So I was really, really happy to see them.
You've aged gracefully, and I'm wondering if you could share with us some of the secrets, if there are, how to
Um,
listen.
aging gracefully. I the person that you should really ask that question is my aunt, who was 100 years old yesterday. Yes, Chief Mrs. Iyabode Ladipo. Yes, she was 100 years yesterday, looking so fresh. Anyway, how do you keep looking? What's the word? I don't know. I don't know. Okay, let me use your terms. How do you age gracefully? Okay, so one of the things is exercise. I think exercise is very important as often as possible. Even if it's just 30 minutes, 45 minutes. If you can't do it every day, maybe you can do it 3 times a week, 4 times a week. That is very, very important.
What exercise do you do?
I walk. Yes, I started by jogging, but when I got to 60, my coach said to me that look, enough of jogging. It's time for you to start walking. So for the past 10 years, I've been walking, and I walk averagely 5 days a week. And it clears your head early in the morning, gives you a good start, makes you feel, it energizes you. Yeah, so that is one of the things that I would suggest and advise. I think also another habit I've adopted, although there are times when I don't obey myself, but on the whole, I try not to eat beyond 6:30 ish, every day. And if I'm going to, well, could be tea, could be fruits, something like that. Um, I don't eat, but it is not deliberate when I think about it. But I do not eat large quantities of food. I can't. There's a point beyond which I just can't go. So I think the older you get, I think maybe the smaller the portions should be. I don't know if it works for everybody, but it it works for me, and it makes me feel quite comfortable. I think also peace of mind is very important, very, very important. There are some things that naturally, as human beings, we will worry about certain things, but worrying does not solve any problem. Over the years, working as a producer, I have learned to I've learned to try as much as possible to think ahead, because if you're working on a especially a TV program, a TV production, everything has got to be done before you start. You can't. You may have some issues during the program, and then you just have to think out of the box and find a way to mend it here and there. But the important thing is that the basic thinking has to have been done before. So I have been used to being productive in my thinking. Um, if a problem is placed before me, I do not waste time lamenting. I don't waste time having a pity party and wondering, oh, what do I do? How do I? No, I begin to think constructively about how to get out of that problem, or who to reach out to that could help me think constructively so that that problem can be addressed. So worrying is not part of my nature. Yeah.
Uh, I also want to know um, your choice of hairstyle, your choice of look. Was it also deliberate or intentional? Leaving your hair.
Yes, yes. Well, whilst I was anchoring the news, my hair for a long time, I think it's been short for a long time, actually. The shape of it has also been the same. But up until the time I stopped reading the news or anchoring the news, I used to process it. So well, some people used to call it, they say you're frying your hair. Okay, so I used to process it. But when I stopped anchoring the news, I decided that I no longer wanted to be bothered with sitting under, steam dryers, sitting with cream on your hair. Sometimes, they make mistakes, they burn your skin. I decided I didn't want any of those things any longer. So I said to myself, okay, now when my hair grows out, all the processed part of it I will cut off, and I'll just leave it natural. But I want to retain the same shape. So it's kind of short at the back and a bit longer at the front. And every 6 weeks or so, I go to the barber and put it back in shape.
What has been your staying power? Okay.
My staying power in anything in my life is my faith. I may not carry placards, all over the place, but my God has been my staying power. My mother has been also so much motivation to me. My husband, when he was alive, was also an encouragement. He never stopped me from doing the things that I wanted to do. But the mainstay would be my faith in the fact that whatever I'm doing, that God is with me. Yeah.
Take us back a bit more to how you got to podcast. What was the attraction?
Actually, there wasn't really any attraction. To tell you the truth, I wasn't planning to be a broadcaster. Um, um, my my inclination was, well, okay. So let me put it this way: when I was at school, I used to take elocution lessons. I was involved in a lot of drama festivals and programs like that. And so I thought that I was going to be an actor. But my dad was not very supportive of that idea. So I decided to work behind the scenes. So I decided to do a course in stage management. So when I came back to Nigeria, I was employed as an assistant producer behind the camera. Okay? The things that I'd learned about sound, lighting, etc., all those things came in useful. But there came a day when we had a top priority broadcast to do, and artists were not able to come to the station, and we were told that, well, most of us are dramatists anyway, just go ahead and do something. So I read poetry, and as a result of reading the poetry, unknown to me, there was a plan for newscasters, female, new faces, new voices, and that's how I was selected.
What year was this?
1976, 48 years ago.
And you started with a public.
And that's how I moved from behind the camera to being in front of the camera. And I did that for about 4 more years before I left NTA. And then I was working again behind the scenes. My husband and I started a TV production company, and I was just behind the scenes, really. I'm doing a variety of other things that are allied to media, and also doing some training until I got an invitation from John Momo inviting me to anchor news on the news at 10. So there was a break for 22 years, and I went back and I spent the next, 13 or so years anchoring the news before I decided that I should retire from that and do other things still within the media or affiliated to the media.
Now that you're 70, what are the things you plan to do? Or
Now, all right. Well, my first priority is a book. I've launched 2 books in the past, but I have another book which is with the publishers right now, and I'm hoping that within the next couple of months that book will be launched. It's about presentation and public speaking. So the first ones I wrote were on pronunciation. This one is presentation and public speaking. So that's the first thing. The second thing, of course, that is very important is a fund that I've also launched, which I'll be pursuing to make sure that we can reach our target. And I have a couple of ideas for a new program, which I am also having conversations around. So that's it. And well, I am still invited from time to time to train. So I will keep that up. That's basically it.
what's usually your advice to the younger broadcasters who look up to you and want to be like you?
I think it's important for broadcasters to be genuinely interested in the job at hand. I know that if you are a known face and a known voice and a known name, I know that it can take you places. But that should not be the first reason. That should not be the main reason. The places that your name, your face, your voice can take you to should be places that you can be proud of. And so I would say concentrate on doing the job well. You met a profession, add value to that profession so that even if you decide to veer off, go and do something else, or people, pick you up and say, oh, come and run this or come and run that, you would have added value because other people are still coming up again after you. So I think people should work genuinely to add value to the profession. Yeah.
And how did you handle the passing on of your husband when it happened that time?
Well, he had been ill for some time. So death is not something that you can prepare for. Even if you have an idea that it might happen, you also have the hope that it won't happen. But within me, I felt that myself and other members of the family, I felt that we had done the best that we could in the situation in which we found ourselves. And of course, we reached out to people who also helped us. But maybe because I was sure that we had done what we could possibly do. Of course, there would be mourning. You understand? I mean, I lived with my husband for 40 years. So I would definitely mourn his passing. But I also felt that, and still feel that, there is a point in a human being's life below, how do I put it? Every human being deserves to have dignity. And there are certain situations that occur when you go below that line of dignity, it becomes something that is difficult even for the person who is involved to handle. It goes beyond pain, it goes beyond discomfort. It's the dignity of being a human being. There are certain things that go with it. And if some of those things are not there, it is difficult to manage. It's difficult to accept, and it's difficult to live with. Whether you are the person that is involved, or you are talking about the people that are immediately around you. So, I mean, naturally, I would mourn. The children also mourned his passing. At the same time, we were thankful that we had good memories. We were thankful that he had an excellent legacy that he left behind, which I dare say the children and myself have benefited from, and we still benefit from it. You can't take away the strides that he made, the impact that he made within the television and advertising industry. So his work is there as his legacy. So we thank God for that.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.